All right, team, welcome back. Today's episode is brought to us by Liquid IV, America's #1 leading hydration supplement. Whether we're looking for some electrolytes post workout, an immune support, a sleep aid, and we also have a sugar free option, it's all there with Liquid IV. We can save ourselves 20% off at checkout using code NOMADIC. That's Liquid IV. Save yourself 20% off using code NOMADIC. Today's episode's also brought to us by Laird Superfood. They've got it covered from supplements to coffee to snacks. Everything comes from the ground. It's plant-based, focusing on nourishing our body from the inside out. That's Laird Superfood, Laird Superfood. We can save ourselves 15% off using code NOMADIC. That's Laird Superfood, 15% off using code NOMADIC. Now, let's get back to the chat. All right, Chief. Thanks for your time, mate. Barcelona.
Yeah.
Was it Wadalona? What do they call it?
Wadsalona.
Wadsalona.
Yeah, Wadsalona. And then there's Wadapalooza in
Wadapalooza,
Miami. Yeah. But they just opened up California as well. So I'd be more inclined to go to California than Miami.
And that's still going to be a Wadapalooza.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a lot out there now for like adaptives and stuff. Like I'm doing one in February, which is in the UK. I think you follow him, Wheel by Design.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nigel.
I love Nige.
Yeah, so he did a comp week before Barcelona, but my partner pulled out, so I had to pull out, sold my ticket, and then I've bought for February, and that's a comp with one adaptive and one able-bodied athlete, so it's mixed. So it gives a bit of variety, which I've never really come across a comp like that before. So that'll be good. But yeah, there's a few more out there now, as opposed to like, I don't know. Well, to be honest, I don't really know, because up until last year, my first comp I ever did was the games. So I hadn't competed, and then I was like, oh, at the Open, I was like, yeah, I'll try. You know, I'd been out, I had to shield for however long with COVID, so I hadn't been at CrossFit, and then literally went back to CrossFit, and I was like, I qualified for the semi-finals. So I was like, I really need to do some work here on myself, because I just wasn't at the standard, but I qualified. So I literally worked for like 3 months, you know, extra training and stuff, and then got to the semis and then qualified for the games. And that was my first competition. But now I've done Wadsalona and been able to compare. Wadsalona was a lot more inclusive, whereas at the games you felt a bit like an outsider, like you were inconvenienced, if that makes sense.
Why was that?
Well, so at the games there was 3 categories of adaptives, and in Wadsalona there was 10, and we were all like, now don't get me wrong, we were mixed with the elite athletes at the games. Like I got a selfie with T2 me, do you know what I mean? Like we were crossing paths with them all, but it was very like regimental, like you do this at this time, stand here, do this, and very like, right, march here now, right, in 10 seconds we're going to go out, things like that. And then after that we're like, yeah, see you later. Whereas at Wadsalona we were just around them all the time, like around everybody, like sat around and stuff, and just there, like able to be included. And whether it's because it was a smaller environment and it was easier to get from like the competing bit to the spectating bit, I don't know. But because like at the games I didn't go to any events and spectate, I didn't know if I could, so I just kind of sat around all day. And with it being in the middle of nowhere as well, it wasn't great, because at least in Barcelona I could go in between events and stuff if I wanted to. But I much more enjoyed Barcelona. So up in the air if I'll try again for the games. Depends if what they do with the eligibility as well, anyway.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of like the affiliate model, in it, really, because they've got the big star in the sky of like, hey, we're doing CrossFit, we're going to pursue the fittest on earth for the game side, and then everybody comes out the woodwork and goes, but have we tried this way? You know, and like now Spain have come out, and then you've got Dubai, obviously, and then down under championships, and you got ones in Cape Town, and they all are slightly different. And I think we could all come together and learn from it in terms of whether it's the adaptive, whether it's age group, whether it's inclusivity, whether it's different equipment, whatever it is, right? And you're like, oh, cool. How did you do it that way? Oh, so you had
Yeah.
them all together and it was a little bit larger or smaller scene, but there was more categories. You're like, oh, maybe we try that next year. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like trial by error, isn't it, really?
It is a bit like, if you think about the games, for instance, like only 3 categories actually went there in person, and they had online events for the other like 7 categories. Like that's just not a great experience. Like just being in your own box and be like, yeah, you're the fittest on earth, but you've not actually gone anywhere. Like, what's the point in that? Hi, I don't see it. And I think the big thing is with the games, because they're obviously sponsored by Noble, that gets a lot of revenue in, whereas all these other comps, they're not. Like Barcelona was like, I got a t-shirt, it was Nike, but that was it. Where the games, you got a full kit, you know, but then it was very much like, you must wear this uniform kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was like being cool. You know, you couldn't wear what you wanted kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I've got a bit of a, I think because of my experience as well this year with the games and being told I wasn't eligible and stuff, like got a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But now the guy who was in charge has gone. I would hope things change for the better.
Yeah, I think that might be the rebellious English streak in you. You know, wanting to turn up to school with your shirt untucked and your tie around your head rather than around your neck.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that's how we pursue progress, though, isn't it? It's like test those boundaries, you know, push the buttons a little bit and be like, right, where are we going? What we doing?
Yeah.
You know, this was great, but how can we be fucking fantastic next year? How can we keep
Yeah.
it growing? How can we be a bit more inclusive? I mean, great questions. I don't know. We could come up with a answer, right? But it might not be the correct one. So let's all be open to change, be open to everybody's opinion, you know, and speak to the
Yeah.
friggin' athletes. You know, I'm not going to fucking know. I don't know what it's like competing as an adaptive athlete. Go speak to them. Send out a survey, monkeysurvey.com or whatever it is. You know,
They don't
just
listen. They don't listen. They did
that's
this last year.
that's the scary
Yeah.
bit, though.
And I gave feedback about how I'd been treated last year, because I got last year, I was told like after semi-finals, you're not eligible. And I was like explaining to this American man, do you not understand how different UK medical documents are opposed to American? America, you're paying for care. So obviously you're going to get tons of documents. I get a report saying, this is what's wrong with her, end of. So I had to spell out for him and like contact my neurologist to be like, please, can you send me a more detailed letter so this man can understand? And like how that made me feel, they were telling me I wasn't eligible. I was like, but I've got it here all in writing from like my MRI scans as to why I am eligible. Yet because it's not in black and white and you can't understand that, you're using that against me. So
yeah,
it wasn't great, but
that's real difficult, man. You know, especially across healthcare systems. You know, I even had a problem getting back into the UK because I had a New Zealand bloody passport with COVID thing on it.
really?
Not a New Zealand actual passport, just a New Zealand COVID certificate. They're like, "What is this?" And I was like,
Oh,
"It's what you've been fucking asking for, as everybody else has. I've just not been in the bloody country." You know, it's like it's like governing bodies don't talk to each other, which they probably don't. But hey, we can sit here and speculate Monday morning about Sunday's quarterbacking, but it's difficult, right? I don't know what I'd do in that position, but I would like to think I would ask questions first, right? Be like, guys, what was it out of 10? If you come out with anything lower than a 9, well, if you come out anything lower than a 10, how do we get it to a 10? But if it's lower than a frigging 5, right, how do we get that over 50%? Because it's athlete experience first, and then we got to pursue.
I just don't. I had a call with the head judge, a man who runs Wheel Wad, which is an adaptive comp, and also HR. And this was after I was told I was ineligible, and I was like, please can I just share my thoughts and feedback of how you can make this better. And it was like an hour call with them, and like they listened to me and stuff, and I made a few different points to them, like how they're literally going off videos to tell if you're eligible. And I said, why aren't you going off like medical documents which confirm things which would cause the kind of impairments you're wanting? And I even sent through a video of me compared to another athlete who was eligible. And I said, tell me the difference. There is no difference.
Yeah.
Because it was as if they just wanted everybody from the games the year before not to compete. So it was like they wanted a fresh slate. So literally they wiped the leaderboard about 7 or 8 people out of that. So the people that actually went were like 8 downwards. So they were just not great athletes. But that was up to them. And I also made a point to say that I'm an ambassador in the UK for various MS charities. And like when I qualified, they were like, whoa, that's such a great achievement. And now I'm like, I don't qualify anymore. And they're like, oh, has your MS gone? No. Yeah. You know, like, and I said this to the head judge was like, that actually upsets me that you're saying that. And I said, yeah, you've not thought anything through. You're just like, oh, Leila looks okay. Let's just say no to her. And now the problem they've got is people have gone out of their way and got braces for their legs. So then they're visibly able to see something wrong. And I'm like, that, I just wouldn't do that. Like, if I don't need shit like that, I'm not going to just put it on my leg to make me fit in. I'm just not that type of person. It's more to life than the games, you know what I mean? Like, I've been once. If I never go again, then I've done it. More than a lot of people can say, but I wouldn't ever kind of make my illness look worse than what it is. Like, what do they want me to do? I'll turn up to the box in a wheelchair. Okay, ready? Then I'll get out and do everything. And it's fine because I have to go back in the wheelchair at the end. Like, it's ridiculous.
That's fucking wild, mate. It's like somebody with a sprained ankle that can walk on it and everything's perfectly fine. Like, oh, let me go get crutches. You know, just so the coach knows.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and I think for people to treat you that way as well, like it's mentally, it harms your mental health as well if you're not headstrong. You know, like I remember when the stress of it when he was like, "You're not eligible." I was like, "I'm arguing with this man, like who doesn't like me clearly, and wants all Americans there." And yeah, I was like, "There's no point in me trying with him." I had to get my coach involved to email him, and when it was a man involved, he was then on level with him. Is that dog really annoying?
Oh, fucking do what you want.
Just attacking the cat. Doing.
Cat will be slapping it. Get out of here.
I've locked them out.
It's so strange to me how somebody can turn around to you and be like, no, that's not the way it is with your body. That's not how you feel. That's not what you've got. It's like, well, okay, cool. First of all, do you have the same thing? If the answer is no, go fuck yourself.
I know. But it's to the point where even medical research, and like if you go on the internet and Google MRI scans, damage to your cerebellum, that causes ataxia. Like that's what it causes. Like that's like scientifically proven, whatever. That was their qualifying impairment, ataxia. And they were like, no, you don't have it. I'm like, what? I've got that part of my brain that causes that just because I'm not on every step falling over. Honestly, you couldn't write it. Like, I was like, are you thick?
Fantastic. I'm just...
You can't get any more concrete evidence. And then you've got somebody who's wearing a brace who's pretending to fall over and they're eligible and they don't have that evidence.
I'm literally just picturing you kicking off at some poor bloke over in the States. I was like, oh man, I'm sorry, but we're just not really that inclined back over in the UK, man. Like, talk about rebels.
No, I was like, do you not understand what I'm saying? He was like, do not speak to me like that. I was like, well, you're coming across a bit thick. So yeah, it drove me mad that. I'm glad he's gone anyway.
It didn't work with me teachers in school. It's not going to work with you, pal.
No, exactly.
Mate, idiot. So let's wind the tape back a little bit. If somebody's listening and has no idea what MS is, right? No idea what that would look like, feel like, act like, to be able to be a barrier for fitness. Well, what would you explain? How would you start that?
The one key thing is no two people are the same with MS. They all differ. So it's called the snowflake disease because obviously no two snowflakes are the same. So you won't come across somebody that has the same symptoms. They might complain of the same kind of things, but they might, I guess, experience them differently. The big thing for me for fitness is I guess it's a mental thing to start with, and it's also I started CrossFit after I got diagnosed, and it was kind of a point to prove, to show that I could do what other people could do that didn't have MS. And that's how I got into it, and that's how I got started. And I think now when I'm there and amongst, I guess, able-bodied people, I feel like one of them, even though I have got this illness. And it's such an important thing, exercise with MS. If you Google anything about it, it's like you need to get your body moving. And I think for me, like, I hear about people that are like, oh, I just feel so tired and like my legs hurt. If I laid on the settee all day, I'd be tired. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, it's like a reverse effect. You're not doing anything, but you just make yourself tired. So for me, it's trying to get out and do something. I know people physically can't, but there's on the internet, there's some trainers for MS, and it's even if you're in a wheelchair, just doing stuff with like your upper body. Like, look at Nigel, for instance. He doesn't have MS, but he, you know, can't use much of his body, but he still tries and he still gets out there and he still does that. And that for me is inspiring. And I would hope that myself would inspire others who have got MS to see that it is possible. But I think like last year when they shared like some news articles and stuff, I saw on Twitter, and I try not to read like negative comments, but people saying, oh, I wish I could do that, I can't even get a shower out when tired and stuff. And I'm like, it's not about comparing what you can and can't do to somebody else, it's about thinking what you're able to do and just going out and doing that. I'm not saying go out and deadlift 140k, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that, but just do something, just move. Could go for a swim, a walk, something to get your body moving. But people are quick to jump on, aren't they, and kind of put you down. But yeah, I think for me the big thing is keeping active. It's a massive thing, massive research into it as well, of how it helps you kind of, I guess, your disease too. So because I, touch wood, have no progression since being diagnosed and being on treatment, which is 5 years. And if you met me, you wouldn't think there was anything wrong with me. Like, I look like a normal person. I play football, you know, I do try to do day-to-day things. I get tired. I go to sleep every night at 7:30. So when you originally wanted to plan at 7, I was like, oh my God, it's nearly bedtime.
That's all right. Tell me off. Say no, prick. Okay, make it on my time.
So I do sleep a lot, and I just try to go to bed early. But I think one thing I've tried to adapt into my kind of training routine is ice baths. So I go in that, I've done a lot of like listen to podcasts and stuff on it. At first I was going in every day, but I've just learned that even every other day up to 11 minutes a week. And I read the Wim Hof method, which was a book that my friend Jules lent me, and it's basically goes on in there of how it helps like MS, because it's like inflammation of the body. So obviously getting yourself cold, it does help that. So that I feel like has helped my fatigue, where I don't need to nap as much during the day. Another thing is my like memory, and like thinking when I'm trying to speak and I'm trying to say a word, I can't remember it. Like, that is so annoying, like all the time. So that's a big thing for me. And then I lost some eyesight in my left eye, and that hasn't come back. But these are things you can't see, you know. So
intangibles, things that we can't cast as prejudice onto other people from our own eyes. Yeah, the nature of humans.
Yeah, I think it's like everyone obviously varies and stuff. Like I used to struggle a lot with my left arm. I used to always get numbness and stuff, but whether the treatments help that, because that I don't seem to struggle with that as much. But if I'm lifting like a barbell, for instance, you'll always see like my left arm be the last to go up. Like It's always, there's a slight delay in that. But other than that, I'll randomly trip over at football. I'll blame the grass. I tripped over the grass.
There's a pothole there.
Yeah.
Watch out, there's a hole in the ground.
Yeah, other than that, I think that I'm quite lucky, and I know I'm lucky, but I'm not lucky to have MS. Do you know what I mean? I'm just lucky how I guess I deal with it and try and make the most out of it. But I think exercise is important for anybody. You don't have to have, I guess, a degenerative disease to kick yourself up the bum to do exercise. Like, I've always played football, I've always exercised. You know, it's not like I just started exercising just because of my MS. I used to always exercise anyway. I just realised the importance of it.
Yeah, and I think that's so beautiful, mate, because it's a leveler. You know, it completely just draws a line in the sand, and everybody steps to that line. Yeah. And it's like, okay, great. Now you've got to go across it. It's all the work that you do determines whether you're going to walk across this line or not. You know, and it really doesn't matter what you do, mate. Like,
well, does it? No,
it really doesn't. You can wheel around your living room. You can swing your arms around and get a little sweat on, or you could
Yeah.
go do like 3 Ironmans back to back. It doesn't really matter. But
No.
people, yeah, that sounds a bit weird, right? Fucking, that's a bit too extreme. But people look at the outcome and they get intimidated.
Mm.
No, 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 I don't want to do the outcome.
Mm.
Like, yeah, the people didn't just fall out of bed and be able to do that. No, no, it's those
No.
tiny, tiny, monotonous little steps that get you there.
Mm.
Just do something.
Yeah.
Just do
Yeah, I think
something,
it's
man.
important to start small and build up, if anything. But yeah, I do think like it's hard to think that I've been diagnosed 5 years and I've been doing CrossFit 5 years. You know, it's actually not. It's 6 years in January, so nearly 6 years. Interesting. But yeah, I started at like a few months after my official diagnosis, even though I'd had symptoms like 9 months prior. Um, but yeah, I just think getting out there, doing something, just to get yourself moving is really, really important. And also just for mental health. Like there's some videos in there where it's like I'm going for a walk for mental health. Like people stomping down the street, not wanting to do it. But my reason to go out in the morning is for Dottie. Like I'll get up and take her for a walk. Otherwise, I won't go for a walk. Like you see people walking about a dog. I'm like, what are they doing? Why are they walking? Where are they going? Like,
I
get
don't
in the
know.
car.
Probably for reasons you just explained, mate.
I know. I just find it weird. I just find it weird that people choose to walk.
You're in Yorkshire. You know, you go out
Yeah,
and you see the hills, see the beautiful
not here.
scenery.
No, not here. I don't.
Mate,
So maybe an hour away. Yeah.
I think we got to be in nature. I think humans have got to be in nature.
Yeah.
I really do. I think we've pursued something a little bit skewed here. We've gone for this urban living, you know, these concrete jungles, and you're like, yeah, we're cooping everybody up into tiny pieces of land.
Yeah.
We've got no space. We've got people that don't give a fuck who we are, rubbing shoulders with each other. Everybody's looking through each other, not at each other. You know, and it's no wonder we all feel a bit pissed off all the time.
There's houses everywhere. I'm like, literally, there's houses, and I'm like, where are the people for these houses? Like, why do we need so many houses? And then like opposite me, they're going to build a Lidl. I'm like, just on a bit of land that house was on. I was like, great, like that was nice little land with trees, and that's going to go now for a Lidl.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous, but yeah, I don't know. So yeah, but gone on top
concrete,
off.
concrete jungle, mate. We all need to go live in the woods. That's what I'm saying. Go rogue.
Mm, yeah,
Go proper
potential.
rogue. So if I ever disappear, you stop hearing from me.
You're in the woods,
I'm
okay?
in
The
the
bears.
Himalayas or something.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Fucking dot off. Mate, what's your purpose
What in life or CrossFit?
in life?
To try, I don't know if it's a class of purpose, but just to try to stay as healthy as I can. Try to keep my illness at bay for as long as possible. To live a happy life. I was gonna say happy, healthy life, but I just said about the health. I think that's a big thing for if you are living with a chronic condition. It's always on your mind. Like I wake up in the morning, I'm like, "You've got MS." I'm like, "Yeah, thanks for that brain, thank you." Like just always just there. Like you're the girl with MS. You're like, "Oh, Leila's got MS," but I think, and that it is a mental struggle. I think at first when diagnosed, and I know people struggle with it and stuff. But I think it's important to kind of deal with it, accept it. Because I was quite angry at first and like pissed off. I was like, why me? But now I think it's about happy, healthy life, but doing things that make you happy. Like as I've got older, and whether it's to do with knowing life's too short and stuff, I kind of put myself first now. Whereas like, previously I would have been like, oh yeah, I'll see that friend because they've asked me, but I didn't want to, like the shit. Whereas now I'm like, I don't get anything from that relationship, so I'm not like engaging with anymore. And I think that all comes back to being happy. It's like what makes you happy. Don't worry about what other people think or what other people want you to do. It should come down to in your core what ultimately makes you happy. And if for me that's sat on the sofa with Dottie on a weekend watching telly, then I'll do that. I'll isolate myself, and I still have thoughts going through my head. And I'm like, oh, shall I go see my grandma? Shall I go see my mum? But I'm like, no, I want to sit on the sofa. I just want a day of relaxing. So that is a big thing, putting yourself first. And that's like a purpose, I guess, where that leads then into being happy.
It's funny how life ends up putting those putting those obstacles, I guess, those little tripwires in our way that makes us think like that.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
it's MS, whether it's a mental breakdown, whether it's, you know, a financial crisis, whatever the fuck it is, it forces you to stop, and you have to basically self-reflect. You know, it kind of throws you into your own abyss, and you're like, oh shit, have I got to figure this out? Like this thing is in me. Have I got to figure me out?
Yeah, I think shut the door again. Stupid dog. Dottie, shut up. I think like I got made redundant from I worked for Halifax for 13 years, and I got made redundant in I was told in 2019. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't want to work here anymore. I don't want to work for a bullshit corporate company anymore that actually doesn't give a shit about you. So I left in 2020, and then I'm self-employed now. So I have the freedom to kind of, you know, do what I want when I want, kind of thing. So that was a big thing. And like, that was after my diagnosis. I just realized life's too short. Don't want to do this shit. So yeah, I don't know whether eventually I would have quit or not, but they made me redundant. It came at the right time. I was like, yeah, see you later.
Sometimes you need that little bit of a push.
And I'm so glad. Like, best thing I've done. And like, I say to people, because if I didn't get made redundant, if I didn't get diagnosed with MS, I wouldn't have got my critical illness payout to pay off my mortgage. I wouldn't have been able to go self-employed. Like, I'm like, sometimes it's like MS was the best thing to happen to me, if that makes sense. But it has given me a better life. Even though I am living with illness, on the back of it, my life has vastly improved by my downtime to do what I want to do, being able to train for a few hours a day, you know, all them kind of things, not having a mortgage, you know, I won't be able to do that if I had a mortgage to pay. I won't be able to be like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going self-employed. You know, it's having them overheads, and then now not being able to, you know, pay it, like that would be the worst thing, you know, ever. I'd need a job. So it's good that I guess all them kind of benefits came with it. And the big thing for me is I can do what I want in a day. Like today, I have been having to do work calls and stuff, but like I'll do them in the car while I'm driving wherever I'm going, being to see my grandma, being to see my mum, my friends. You know, if I had a full-time job, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Quality of life's gone up.
Yeah.
In some respects.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. People are like, oh my God, you're so lucky. I'm like, well, no, I'm not lucky.
It's not luck, mate. Yeah.
I'm not lucky I've got MS. Like, they're like, oh my God, you're lucky to have a mortgage. I'm like, yeah, I'm so lucky I got MS, got payout. Oh my God. Like, the amount of people that say that to me, I'm just like, shut up.
Ignorant though, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People have no fucking idea what's going on.
No, they don't.
No, not when you say the letters MS to them, they'll just have glazed over eyes.
Well, I didn't really know what MS was. Like, I knew my friend's grandma had it when I was younger. I knew she was bedbound, but back then you didn't have treatment, you know, so she would have just been progressing. She died when she was like before 80, I think. And then the only other time I'd seen it was on a TV program called Nighty Night, where it was a comedy with Angus Deaton in from that program, the news program. What was it called? They used to do on a Have I Got News for You or something, I think.
Oh, right. Yeah, Have I Got News for You, yeah.
Yeah, he was a presenter on that. And honestly, if you've not watched it, it's on BBC iPlayer. I don't know if you can get it over there. It's the funniest program I've ever seen. So I grew up watching this when I was like 15, 16. And even now I can watch it and just laugh. But ironically, a woman in it had MS. So that was my experience with MS. I was like, oh my God, she's in a wheelchair. Then one day she wasn't in a wheelchair, she's walking. I was like, what is wrong with this woman? Why is she going back and forth? But that is the disease. You can be one day not being able to walk, the next you can. But yeah, you must watch that program. It's so funny.
All right, I'll put it on the list, mate.
It's honestly, it's hilarious. It's really like short. It's like 6 episodes, like half an hour each max. But just it's just like so cringe with what they do. It's just really funny. You need to watch it. So yeah, I don't remember what it was. Oh yeah, saying about MS. But yeah, people will have no idea. And the thing is, people like I've realised again, whether it's getting older, people don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about people. They don't give a shit about me. Like they don't say to me, Leila, what is MS? Like, what does it mean for you? You know what I mean? They don't ask me. They don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if someone does something. I'm like, do what you want. I don't care. Like, whatever. Does it involve me? Does it affect me? No. So I don't care. So I think that's what I found a lot of as well. Now I'm older. People they're really not bothered. And you should only care about yourself. What's the point in care about other people? So yeah.
Little bit cynical, but I'll take it.
Well,
As long
yeah,
as
I don't
it's
know.
your truth, mate. Fucking speak your truth.
But how many people pay interest in anything nowadays?
Well, that is also true. Like I think about interactions with people a lot and communication with people a lot. It's just being in the nature of coaching, right?
Mm,
And what I kind of sit back and you watch these things occur, and you're like, they're so transactional.
mm,
And I'm just not interested in it. Like if we're gonna scrape the surface, I don't give a fuck. I'm out. Like I'll go do something
mm,
else. It's like if you don't just come in and be like, if you had one question to ask Mother Nature, what would it be? Like just random deep questions like that, right? I'd be like, oh, I'm in. This is a cool
mm,
conversation. We're both
yeah,
gonna learn something, and we're both gonna understand who the other individual is. We're
yeah,
gonna create a connection that's gonna be a beautiful thing, rather than like the weather's a bit shit. It's like, go fuck yourself, mate. I just can't be asked talking about the weather
yeah.
for the 11th time today.
I know.
I'm
Mm,
good with myself. I'm good. Like, I can have that conversation, in your own head.
yeah,
But I,
that's what I think when I talk to people. I'm like, I don't care. Someone's like, oh, you never guess what happened last night. My tub of food fell out the fridge. I'm like, brilliant.
cool.
How has that changed my life?
Thanks, mate.
Yeah. So it's just unnecessary information that I just don't need to know. Like, I get it with like friends and stuff. You're like, oh, this happened, and you're there to like benefit each other. But like when it's just like someone's just trying to make conversation and telling you shit, you just like, I'm really not interested. Go tell someone else.
What you'll find is they would, one, don't know who they are, or two,
Mm,
aren't comfortable with themselves.
mm,
So it's an insecurity. They just end up projecting it onto somebody else. So let's just fill this void of silence
yeah.
with, oh, Lidl's got a special on. Okay, cool. I don't need to know. Like,
No,
thanks, mate. And
no. It is very weird, and I think a lot of people like I get it. Like if I go to spend time with like a friend or family, like you chat and stuff, and that's fine. It is the people that try and make the small talk, which I just can't go with.
yeah, yeah.
Or I
I got
just
a,
don't want to spend time with people that I don't really know.
I got a question.
Mm.
What are the 3 words you would tell your younger self?
Literally 3 words or sentences.
3 words. You can make a sentence out of it, or it could just be like 3 individual words. These are your words, mate. You make the rules.
But it doesn't make sense if I say strong. Be strong. That's what I mean.
You're still not getting more words out of it.
um, strong, loyal,
Oh, nice.
honest. Yeah,
Loyal. That
I'm very
really hit
loyal.
me.
Pisses me off when people are loyal.
That really
So
hit me. I like that one a lot.
mm, it's
That's
it's quite a I think it's quite a rare trait as well for people to have.
it is now.
It's like anything like I'm very much like, so I'm trying to think of an example. So say for example, at football, for instance, I always sat in the same position in the changing room, and this person always sat next to me. I would be like, if someone came over, I'd be like, oh no, this person sits there, and that's how deep like loyalty goes for me. Whereas other people be like, oh yeah, sit there if you want. Well, I'm like, oh no, this is Emma's seat. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah, yeah.
how deep I get. Where other people don't do it, and then I realize that people don't do it, and I'm like, well, they clearly don't care then. But I just think they don't carry the same kind of loyalty in life with things. So, yeah.
It's definitely a fleeting thing.
Mm.
It's not too apparent in the modern time. Grass is always greener, right? But the grass is fucking greener where you water it.
I think people think loyalty though is about not cheating, whereas that's not how I also I don't in a relationship. Yeah, loyalty is that as well, but I think more just day to day general kind of life. I'm just loyal. Like if I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it.
Yeah, be a back up of your word.
Like,
yeah,
kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's something a lot of people struggle with. And then honesty, like I'm probably the most honest person people meet, and that could be to do with the damage to my frontal lobe, being of the ability to hold in what I want to say, but who knows? And then
maybe that's your evidence for the judge.
Yeah.
You know how I'm being honest that you're a prick.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's quite interesting. But I don't think anyone's ever asked me 3 words, so it's good.
I appreciate it a lot, and thank you so much for your time.
It's all right,
mate.
hopefully out.
Hey.
Hopefully you got some out of it.
Oh, come on. It's just a conversation, mate. And you're welcome back on any time. And when I get back Northern Hemisphere side, we'll get a workout down. I potentially might be at the February one, but I'll be at the one after.
Oh, are you? Maybe February?
Yeah.
Why don't you be my partner? I need a partner.
Well, I can't commit because I don't know whether I'm going to be in country yet. Right. But if I am in country, I'll do some fitness with you. How about that?